St. Bonaventure UB. 2 years ago, the Bonnies won in the Rivalry Center off a Jaeline buzzer beater. Then last year, Curtis Jones dropped 32 points in Buffalo against the Bonnies, who lost all their starters from the previous season.
Cross court, Curtis Jones, head and shoulder fake jumper, good!
Now the Bonnies return to Buffalo in hopes of winning again. BBN starts now.
As you see on your screen, folks, this is a look at the outside of Alumni Arena. We'll be going live from UB in a minute. My name is Jaeline Valdez, and alongside me is Anthony DaSilva. Like I said, we have an action-packed show today. We have a couple of stats packages from Anthony for both men and women's, matchup for both men and women's, and a few discussions of the women's Thursday night's Canisius game going into their game against West Virginia University, along with the semester grades for men. But before we get into all that, let's take you back to Alumni Arena with our hosts, Allie, Leah, and Sydney. Ladies, it's all yours.
Thanks, guys. We are live from the UB, University of Buffalo Alumni Arena. And beside me are Leah Lockwood and Allie, Elkins, and I'm Sydney Labayewski. So let's get right into our key matchups of the game. So, guys, I'm going to be talking about the big man matchup. We got Chad Benning and Cy Chapman, 6'8", 227-pound forward. I think it's going to be a big matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm looking for a big man battle down low. Who doesn't love that? I'm looking at Janavius Smith here getting some shots up pregame. He's working on a little bit of a three-point shot, and he is fairly consistent with that, so that's something to look out for as well. He's a monster on the glass, averages almost a double-double at 10 points per game and 9.7 rebounds. But we know on the other side of things, Benning and Brown have been recently getting into some foul trouble, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they can guard that and battle back against that.
I agree with you, Allie.
Yeah, Sid, I'm going to have to agree with the Cy Chapman statement, except I'm going to change it up. Charles Pride. Cy Chapman and Charles Pride, both veteran players, people I'm interested in seeing on the court, seeing their leadership, seeing their presence.
I also agree. So
Now, yesterday, guys, I had the opportunity to sit down virtually, that is, with Nate Williams, who was a previous UB player, and now he's in the NBA. He plays for the Houston Rockets. So let's take a look. When you think of Bonaventure, what do you think?
It's like a high school. It's like a high school environment. It's like they're right on the court. So I honestly love big fans. It's a dope environment. It brings more like excitement to the game. When your crowd cheering for you and y'all make a shot or y'all get a stop and they yelling, that actually helps. Like it get the energy going in the building, especially for the home team. And as far as for the opposing team, because I always just on the opposing side, I mean, it honestly, it put more of a target on y'all back because we want to, like, shut y'all up, like, shut the Bonaventure fans up and, like be at them.
What advice would you give other teams coming into Bonaventure that might not really realize how much of a small school it is and how much of, like, a high school environment it does feel like?
Just be aware of the trash talk. Don't let it get to you because like they might say some crazy stuff in the fan sections. They be talking crazy. I remember them talking about one of my teammates. I think they were saying his mom's name or something like that. I love my True Blues, but I have to give it to Bonaventure. Honestly, they bring way more energy. Oh my God.
What's your prediction for the game tomorrow? Who's gonna win? And what's
my guy's winning. I don't care what their record is. My guy's winning.
Now, how about that? Obviously, Nate Bona has said more good things about the Bona fan section. Guys, what have you noticed, and do you think they're going to bring their A game today?
I mean, I think the Bonaventure campus is only less than an hour and a half away from here. So I think the Bonnie fans are going to make a trek because, if there's one thing about being a Bonnie, they are a die-hard basketball fan, and they are
Very
going
true.
to bring the noise. So that's what I think helps when we play in the Riley Center. We have all the students, and they really get in the other team's head. So I think, with it being in a close distance, I think the Bonnies are going to show up.
For sure. Allie?
It's almost a guarantee that the Bonus fans are going to be going crazy in a basketball game. So I have no doubts that the way that they are shouting out their feelings for this Bonaventure team is going to impact this game significantly energy-wise.
And I'm so excited to see what they have to bring to the table today.
I agree. So when we come back, we'll be in the studio. That's all from us right now.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Taylor Napper and Claire Cody have split time at forward this season, with both of them averaging exactly 22.1 minutes per game, and Napper getting the start while Cody comes off the bench. But who has played better this season? Let's take a look at the stats to find out. Cody has been a lot better offensively than Napper. Cody has the second highest offensive rating on the team, while Napper ranks 7th. Cody has shot 36.4% from the field, which ranks 5th on the team, while Napper has shot 29.4%, which ranks 8th on the Bonnies. Cody has also made 6 3-pointers this season, which is the 3rd most on the team, while Napper has yet to attempt a 3-pointer. Napper has been slightly better defensively, leading the team in blocks with 4 and holding a slightly better defensive rating. Cody has also grabbed 25 rebounds this season, which is 3rd on the team, while Napper has only recorded 16 rebounds this season and has not grabbed a rebound in her last 2 games. And one last thing, Cody has been great at not turning the ball over. She only has 2 turnovers this season, while Napper has committed 13 turnovers. Even though Napper is the starter, these stats show that Cody is outplaying Napper, and maybe a change could happen soon. From BBN, I'm Anthony DaSilva.
Welcome back, folks. So Anthony, let's talk about that package you put together. We saw the stats about Claire Cody and Taylor Napper. Let's talk about it a bit. Do you feel like what we just saw from stats kind of demonstrated and went into what happened Thursday night against Canisius?
Well, those stats, I don't think the Canisius game really played an impact on their stats for the season because neither of them really played a whole lot in the game because Napper only played about 16 minutes,
right,
while Cody only played 7. And
right.
They didn't really produce much when they were on the court. Napper scored 2 points while Cody didn't score any.
Like kind of what you were saying, they didn't really make an impact. We kind of saw in the first quarter, Taylor Napper unfortunately pick up those 2 early fouls. So I feel like that kind of shifted the game a bit more. So let's get into it a bit. Like I was saying, it's kind of shifted of they had to eventually started playing a little bit more small guard and stuff.
Because they got behind a little bit.
Yeah,
they got
right.
behind after I think Canisius went on a run where they hit a bunch of threes in the second quarter, and then they had to put people out there that are used to scoring a lot of points.
Right, like you said, their confidence eventually just shifted with that 3-point. They just couldn't defend it for some reason. Eventually, Canisius finished the game 10-27. In that second quarter, they went 3-5 in 3-point shooting, and then that fourth quarter, they went 3 for 4. Kind of showed where St. Bonaventure was in the defensive mindset. They kind of weren't really there and everything. So how do you feel like going into that game, other key players such as Danny, her former team and school, that she played against them?
I was expecting Danny to have a big game, especially going against Canisius. She's here, she's closer to home.
Right.
I thought she would put up 25 points, hit 4 or 5 threes,
right.
just carry the whole team, but she just had an off night.
I feel like you kind of saw when they started to pick up a couple of foul troubles, not even just Taylor Napper, a couple of the guards as well. Nadeshka kind of got into foul trouble finishing finishing with 4 fouls throughout the game. You kind of saw them like trying to pick each other up after a couple of unnecessary calls, trying to, like you said, like we would have expected more from Danny, you know, coming into this game against her school. I guess they had that kind of anxious, nervous mindset that, like you said, Canisius is her old school, so they kind of had to prove something for her, prove something, like she had to prove something as well, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough.
Even with Danny not playing well, Isabella Middleton did step up with 20 points and 9 rebounds. She was all over the court. She helped keep the Bonnies in the game where it wasn't a blowout, and they could have still won it if things played out, and they played well, like really down the stretch.
I feel like many times we discuss about Isabella Middleton's aggression, her persistence to keep going even when the team may not show that they're still in this game. One thing about her, she will continue to try to get her bucket. She will continue to try to pull up and shoot that elbow jump shot that she loves to continue to do. And unfortunately, the Griffins just took the W against the Bonnies, but they're headed, the only thing they could do from now is hold their heads up high. They're headed to Morgantown to play West Virginia, currently tipping off as we speak. And as we get into that, our very own Robin Stone took a look back at when the last time the Bonaventure Women's played West Virginia, which was December 8th, 2012, the last transition of Jim Crowley being here with recently retired jersey number 42, Katie Healy. And here is what he had to look at.
The women's team travels to West Virginia this weekend to play the Mountaineers for the first time in over a decade. Let's go back to the most recent matchup between the two. The last time the Bonnies played West Virginia was in 2012 under head coach Jim Crowley during a transition period.
I promise you that come Sunday, we will play very hard and we will do all we can to make you proud.
The Bonnies had just danced their way into the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, defeating FGCU and Marist. The year after, notable players such as Katie Healy and Emily Michael began their college careers, coming into a successful Bonaventure program, while experienced players departed. Now, Coach Crowley is back for a new era of Bonnies women's hoops, again playing West Virginia, and the winning expectations remain.
But that was then, and this is now, and we need you back. And this group deserves you back. They're going to work, they're going to play tough, and they're going to represent Bonaventure with everything they got.
West Virginia and St. Bonaventure meet once again today at noon.
And as we look into today's game against the Mountaineers, we like to discuss the opponent a bit more. West Virginia is currently sitting 5th in the Big 12 conference standings with still unbeaten, Anthony, which is shocking to say that they're 5th, given the fact that, you know, every other team above them is also unbeaten. So kind of goes to show what kind of competitive atmosphere the Mountaineers are about.
And the Mountaineers have been blowing out their opponents. They're winning their games by an average of 24.5 points.
Which is a kind of scary thing for the women kind of going into today, which is what we'll talk about eventually with their key matchups. So in today's key matchup, I feel like a good matchup to see is Nadeshka Lassine versus JJ Quinterly. I think this matchup is amazing just because, you know, they're playing the same kind of small guard ball. You know, as you guys are kind of seeing on your board with the statistics, they're kind of both, like, they're not afraid to push. One thing we've seen about Nadeshka many times, even after that Niagara injury, she's not afraid to keep going and pushing into the paint. I do believe that they both play the same amount of kind of mirror ball. One thing about them is if they're not consistent with shooting, which is especially with JJ, she won't be afraid to draw into the paint and get her opponents in a couple of foul troubles, which we've seen a lot. And as one thing, I just feel like Nadeshka coming into this game, like, she'll have to have a lot of composure. Like I said, last game in Canisius, she kind of got into a bit of foul trouble just because that composure. Canisius was playing that fast-paced ball, which we know the Mountaineers like to play. They're experienced, they know how to get into it.
And Nadeshka also has to limit those turnovers as well.
Right.
8 in the last game is.
It's just not working for them. And kind of even if that's Canisius they were facing against.
Yeah.
Look at how pressured they were now going into like a Big 12 opponent. What are some other key matchups you'd like to see? So
my key matchup is Taylor Napper versus Tabby Diggs because, like, West Virginia is a very big team, and with Taylor Napper being our biggest player, she's really going to need to have to step it up in this game if the Bonnies want to have a fighting chance in this game. Because they both lead each other's teams in blocks, with Diggs having 6 blocks on the season and Napper having 4. But like Napper like hasn't had a rebound in a couple of games, and she like this can be a get right game for her and get back on track. And also she needs to work on limiting Diggs, because in her last game against Southern Illinois, Diggs had 18 points.
Right, like you were saying, I kind of want to see a little bit more of this Taylor Napper, even though they're like a different kind of opponent. I just feel like Taylor Napper kind of has something to prove out of all of these girls. You know, like you said, she hasn't really been getting any rebounds. She's been in foul trouble these past couple games. You know, she just kind of has to prove herself all around the board. I also would like to also see her with that big matchup that you're kind of talking about, this height difference with Kylie Benerly. That's just a matchup that is just like height wise, that is just like, you know, you'll get to see. She doesn't typically, Kylie, have a lot of points, but her minutes do show defensive wise that she, like you said, the differential in points, that she is not a force to be reckoned with in the paint. You cannot get past her. She is not afraid to block that ball. Like you said, also with Tay, is just something that we have to watch.
Yeah, speaking on height, like the whole Bonnies in general are gonna have to play bigger than they actually are, because West Virginia is on average, if you combine all their heights, they're on average a whole inch taller. They're 5'10.7, while the Bonnies are 5'9.8, and they will just have to be bigger and find a way to just not get completely out-rebounded the whole game.
And unfortunately, probably most of our height is coming from Taylor and Claire themselves, so that's unfortunate. But in this new segment we like to add to our show, we decided to take a look at what we call Beyond the Paint and our alumni journey. In this segment, we took a look at Asia Johnson. Hailing from St. Bonaventure University, Asia made her mark from 2018 to 2022, leaving an impressive average of 13.4 points per game. She typically started most of those games, which we've seen here on the screen. Seeking new horizons, Asia took her talents to Mississippi State for her graduate year. Despite the change of scenery, her impact remained undeniable, contributing 8.2 points per game that season off the bench. Now she's making waves in Euro Basketball League, proudly donning the jersey of Pristina and Kosovo. Johnson has become a force to be reckoned with, averaging an incredible 22.4 points per game. Her journey isn't just a story of triumph, it's a testament to unwavering spirit of a player. Her Pristina team, with a record of 8-1, their first loss was handed to them just yesterday, with Asia scoring 16 points. As they say, once a Bonnie, always a Bonnie. So we wish you nothing but success in your season, and keep getting those MVPs that you continue. And right now we're headed to break, and coming back we'll be live with our other hosts in Alumni Arena. Yeah, it did.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Stats prove that Barry Evans should be getting a lot more playing time and maybe even get a chance to start. He is currently one of the Bonnie's best players this season, according to several statistical categories. Evans has the best defensive rating on the team and 4th best offensive rating. Evans is also 2nd on the team in box plus minus, which estimates a basketball player's contribution to the team when that player is on the court. But this is only based on the information in the traditional basketball box score. Evans also leads the team with 4 steals per 100 possessions. He is also 2nd on the team in rebounds, averaging 5 per game, and he has the 3rd highest shooting percentage on the team, shooting 55.6% from the field. Evans has been really good at not turning the ball over, with only 4 turnovers on the season so far, while some players on the team have really struggled with turnovers. The one thing that Barry has struggled with this season is shooting free throws, which he is shooting 60% on the season, but that's improved from last year when he shot 29.8% from the line. Barry Evans is currently averaging 17.5 minutes per game, which is 7th on the team. If he keeps up his great play, we should see his minutes rise and maybe even a starter role sometime this season. From BBN, I'm Anthony DaSilva.
Once again, we are live here in the Alumni Arena at the University of Buffalo, and let's get into semester grades. So we asked you guys what you guys thought the grades for offensive and defensive and everything in between about the men's and women's basketball. So I'll give you my take first. So I gave them a C- for offensive and defensive rebounds. I thought that they could have a lot more points and a lot more putbacks if there was just another person or two down low. What do you guys think?
You know, I agree with you. They could definitely have more. I gave them a B- because it's okay. It's definitely not where it should be. I think that Pride has picked up a lot of slack in that aspect, and I think that Benning and Brown should be grabbing more rebounds, but because of foul trouble, like we mentioned earlier, they haven't been able to. So it definitely could be better, not where it needs to be.
Allie?
Yeah, I mean, C probably for me, but I want to emphasize that point about foul trouble. The foul trouble for some of the big men on this team has been a huge impact for them, and I think that's why we're seeing the numbers that we're seeing.
I was also going to give them a C for foul trouble because I feel like I was expecting a lot out of, Noelle Brown, new to the team, and Chad Benning, another season as a Bonnie. I was expecting a lot, but I feel like because they get in so much foul trouble, we haven't been seeing as much from them because they have the bench.
And maybe I'm being too critical, but I want to give them a D. Honestly, it's really not up to my standard at all of what I would like to see out of this team. And we know that Benning last year as a fan favorite, we saw a lot more out of him, and we know he's capable of that. So I just like to see that on the court translating from practice.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, foul trouble for sure. Just to re-say what you just said, I mean, it's been tough, but I think there's room for improvement, maybe looking to the end of the season.
And then, so dialing back a little bit, actually dialing up a bit, I gave them a better grade on this one. I gave the team a B+ for it to be better in foul shooting.
That's a good one.
Because I feel like, especially with that Canisius game we were talking about earlier, that easily could have been ours if we had those couple extra points from those foul shots. What do you guys think?
I've mentioned it before in other shows, and I think that their game against Oklahoma State, they were hitting those clutch foul shots at the end there, and that really redeemed them a little bit, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, the little 3 rival with Canisius makes that loss a little bit more embarrassing, especially for Bonaventure fans, but I do think that they had redeemed themselves. And another thing that I wanted to point out was just that overall, I think it's very early in the season still. We don't know how things are going to continue to go. So I think this team is still clicking. They're gonna make it work.
I agree.
Yeah, and definitely be better. The B is a good rating for this. But yeah, foul shots is one of those things where it comes down to practice. And it's something that they can get better at as they work on it. So definitely would like to see a better performance out of this team when it comes to foul shots.
And everything that you guys had mentioned in the poll as well on the Instagram account, it was kind of just falling in the middle, like a bunch of B-, C's. Everything was falling in the middle. Nobody really thought anything was that great coming out of this team so far.
I agree with you. So now going to the women's game in playing West Virginia is 24-14 at the moment right now. And when we get back, you'll be in the studio.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Taylor Napper and Claire Cody have split time at forward this season, with both of them averaging exactly 22.1 minutes per game, and Napper getting the start while Cody comes off the bench. But who has played better this season? Let's take a look at the stats to find out. Cody has been a lot better offensively than Napper. Cody has the second highest offensive rating on the team, while Napper ranks 7th. Cody has shot 36.4% from the field, which ranks 5th on the team, while Napper has shot 29.4%, which ranks 8th on the Bonnies. Cody has also made 6 3-pointers this season, which is the 3rd most on the team, while Napper has yet to attempt a 3-pointer. Napper has been slightly better defensively, leading the team in blocks with 4 and holding a slightly better defensive rating. Cody has also grabbed 25 rebounds this season, which is third on the team, while Napper has only recorded 16 rebounds this season and has not grabbed a rebound in her last 2 games. And one last thing, Cody has been great at not turning the ball over. She only has 2 turnovers this season, while Napper has committed 13 turnovers. Even though Napper is the starter, these stats show that Cody is outplaying Napper, and maybe a change could happen soon. From BBN, I'm Anthony DaSilva.
All right, and once again, we are live from the Alumni Arena here at the University of Buffalo with the women's team. Well, actually, we're not here at the women's team, but an update on the women's score is 22-12. And now we'll go into our final predictions for the men's game. Guys, I think they're going to come up on top. UB's only 1-6, man, and I think we got a good shot going into this.
And UB's only team coming against a D2 team, Sid, so I do think that Bona is definitely the superior team here, and we've seen them play down to their competition before, but I do think this one's going to come out with the Bonnies on top, and I'm going to actually be bold here and give it a final score prediction.
Ooh,
I got
okay.
Bonnies on top, 77-63.
Oh, dang, you really gave the score, too. I was like, yeah, they're just going to win.
I
don't know by how
today.
much.
I was ready.
And to get even more specific, Leah, I'm going to say that Charles Pride is going to go off today from 3.
I agree.
You can feel it.
I can feel it. A big scoring effort. This Bonnies team has some tools in their bag that they didn't have last season. I think the Bonnies are going to come out
I got
on
an
top.
inkling, too. I think Daryl Banks is going to pop off, too. I think Daryl Banks
Coming
and
from
Charles.
you, that's big.
Coming from me, too, exactly. I think they're both going to tag team, and it's going to be blown out of the water.
This is a bold statement, Sid.
I know, especially
excited to
coming
see
from
it.
me too. All right. But that's all we have from UB. Thank you guys for tuning in this semester. It's been a lot of fun, and the pleasure's been all of ours. And can't wait to see you guys next semester. Back in the studio.
Thank you guys. And before we wrap up the show, just a couple of shout outs. We would first like to shout out our very own Carolina Bellingeri. When we were on break, it was her birthday. So we would just like to say happy birthday, and we hope you got to enjoy the exciting time with your family. And another shout out we would like to give is our very own Instagram. Be sure to follow us on Bonnies Basketball Now. You won't want to miss some exciting new content. There's always stuff to post while we're away from break. And folks, that is all. Thank you. That is a wrap for this semester. Thank you for watching Bonnies Basketball Now. A big thank you to all the viewers and thank you for the unforgettable season. We'll be back next semester for A10 play and more exciting moments. My name is Jaeline Valdez.
And I'm Anthony DaSilva. Have a fun break, and we'll see you next semester.
Bye. Sorry about that.